I'm a Canadian digital nomad who's been hopping around different network states and pop-up cities. And I spent the 6 months just meditating basically on what it is I wanted to do with my life, and arrived at crypto. I reached out to a bunch of crypto founders. I started cold emailing them, just saying hey, please let me work for you. And one of them replied, and then I kind of kicked off my journey and I started working in crypto for about 5 years. Read the Network State book in 2023 and then got kind of obsessed and was like, this is definitely gonna happen. I felt like it was 2011 and I just read the Bitcoin white paper. Governance might be the highest leverage way to scale human innovation. I think spreading the network state meme is really productive thing that I could be doing, that you could just do things. If I have high integrity, I'll figure it out and I'll make it happen.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the aVIRAL podcast. And then today we have Jesse with us. So I would love you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Jesse. I'm a Canadian digital nomad who's been hopping around different network states and pop-up cities.
Yeah.
And I've been at network school now for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, talking a bit more about your early life back in Canada. So how was your childhood, and then talking a bit more about your school life. Yeah, were you a serious student? Is a good.
Yeah, I was I was a very diligent student who didn't get really good grades. I tried really hard. I studied a lot.
Okay.
But no, early life was I was raised in a suburb outside of Toronto, very average, typical North American suburban life. So if you've ever seen any American coming of age movie, it's basically exactly what you expect.
Yeah.
But the Canadian version of that. So grew up in I would call a small town that became a bigger town.
Which part of that?
Older. What's the name of the town?
Yeah.
It's called Oakville. It's in the greater Toronto area. And it's funny because I think a city is anything that's over 100,000 in population.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they like the name town so much, so now it's at 200,000 and they still call it the town of Oakville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, early life was growing up in a town like that, going to elementary school, high school, and doing just the very traditional move from elementary school, high school to university, doing what everybody else was doing.
Okay, which university was that?
It's called the University of Guelph. So
It was in Toronto? Or?
it's in, it's 40-minute drive from Toronto.
Okay.
So it's not really a very well-known school in international standards. In Canada, it's maybe top 10, top 15. It's good for, life sciences. It's known as the School of Agriculture.
Okay.
So when I was in school, I feel I went into biology. That was, I have a degree in microbiology I've never used.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I feel biology just kind of selects for people who like science that aren't good at math.
Yeah.
And that was my situation. And one of the things I thought I was good at in school was basically regurgitating reading a lot of information and just being able to remember it and recall it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So biology was a good middle ground for that.
Subject to learn everything. Yeah.
Yeah. But now that I think about it, I think law or economics or something like that would have been maybe a more interesting path. It's the same skill set. It's just remembering a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that I kind of regret having a degree in microbiology.
But then, what motivated you to do that? It was you love to learn things, but then grasp things, but then yeah.
Yeah, I think I was. I think I wish I really put more thought into this time of my life. I finished high school, and that's just what the natural next step is to go to university. And I always thought I wanted to go into academia. I wanted to publish papers and contribute and do all of these things. And I remember getting a placement in a lab in the University of Guelph, and we're doing really interesting research. It was like right around the time when cannabis was being legalized in Canada.
Oh, okay.
And we were like one of the first labs to do research on these volatile compounds called terpenes. They're like responsible for the smell and taste of a lot of plants. And cannabis has like a very interesting set of terpenes. And we were like sequencing the genome of these. And that was pretty interesting, but what I came to realize is that most people were not doing interesting research. Most of the people were kind of just making these like really incremental, maybe not even worth it improvements on already existing innovations. And people weren't really publishing that much either. And academia just felt like just kind of like a, I don't know, like a...
Yeah, like nothing much was happening there, or like the people were not much interested to do something, invent something.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of people like stroking their egos, it felt like.
Okay.
So I remember getting kind of turned off from that whole path. And
so it was like kind of an internship that you did? And
no, it was like it counted as a credit for school. So it was like basically just find a professor who wants to let you into their lab. Which I'm really glad that I did it, because it allowed me to understand like what it's like actually working in these settings. And the other thing was that it's so like gated by credentialism. So like I realized that, okay, if I want to go into academia, like you can't just do that with an undergraduate degree. You have to actually like go get your master's, go get your PhD. And also it's like the one of the things that I feel like people don't fully realize is that PhDs are like take an average of like 6 or 7 years. Like people think you could do it in like 3 or 4 years, but a lot of people, especially in sciences, they take a very long time to complete it. And I didn't want to be like in my early 30s just finishing up. So
yeah, all right.
I pivoted. Yeah.
What was that moment that made you pivot? Like, was it easy for you, or like
yeah, I mean, there's like, you can have these like moments of like identity crisis in some sense, because you're, you know, in high school, I really liked my biology teacher, and him being a good teacher made me really interested in the subject. And then getting a degree in biology, you kind of like assign a certain part of your identity to being like the biology guy or whatever it may be. And I feel like athletes also have this problem when they don't go pro, and then they have to like stop playing whatever sport, and they go through like some sort of identity crisis. So I think that just being in university, not really enjoying it that much, and being too afraid to just drop out. Like I know we're at network school, a lot of people have dropped out of school, and I feel like I wish I had that level of like courage or chutzpah to do that as well. But I decided to finish. I was like a year in, and I was like, oh, I have to finish. Or else it's a year wasted.
Yeah. The sunk cost fallacy.
Yes, exactly. So I felt like I had to finish, and once I finished my degree, I didn't go into biology at all. I just decided to do something else. Yeah.
So then, what was your next move?
Yeah, I remember.
And when was this? Like, when did you graduate?
Yeah, so I graduated I was in school from 2014 to 2018. So I did like the 4 years, like as fast as I could. Then I remember having a conversation with one of my friends, because I was trying to figure out what should I do next with my life. And he gave me this analogy that I still use, where it's like, you should think of your career as like a skill tree, like in a video game, where you can level up a certain attribute. And I was like, okay, well, what would be something good to get a foundation in that would be useful moving forward? So then I was like, okay, sales. I'm going to go straight into sales.
Okay.
So then I got a job in software sales, and I was like scared to death to call people and do cold calls and these sorts of things. But I think in the end, it was probably good for me to get a job like that, and to learn to speak with people, how to articulate value, urgency, these sorts of things. So I think that was good experience.
So somewhere did you apply for it?
Yeah, I was living in the Toronto area at the time, and then I decided there's nothing for me here. I had a friend living in Vancouver, which is on the other side of the country, and I thought, okay, I'm just going to fly over there and go live with my friend and go find a job there. So then I looked online for jobs that I could apply for. I remember one of my friends had a business that wasn't really like fully functional, and I just put that I had like 1 year of experience at this his business for him and used him as my reference.
Oh, okay.
So I said that I had 1 year of sales experience when I didn't have that at the time, and then I went into this job and it ended up working well. I just like really tried really hard to basically imposter syndrome and learn on the job as fast as I could. And then like 2-3 months in, even my sales managers were happy with me, and I was like, wow, it's so easy just to say you did something and then just try really hard once you get there, because you got to get your foot in the door somehow. So yeah,
it's actually kind of interesting. And then how did you learn about it? Like the sales, you read some books?
Yeah, I like tried reading. There's like the famous self-help book, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of interesting. There was also like there was a book that they recommended to us to read. I think his name is like Sandler or something is the name of the author. But basically the best way to learn is just look at the people who are the top salespeople in the company and just listen to their calls.
Okay.
So there's these Irish guys that
copy reading.
Yeah, there was a
Copy calling.
Yeah, but you also have to like figure out your own specific style as well, because there was these Irish guys who I worked with who were like the top salespeople, and they were very like, they didn't do a lot of research about the companies beforehand, just super comfortable, super
confident.
Yeah, confident. And I was trying to emulate their style, and I couldn't. I had to come there with all my notes prepared, and like so basically I ended up doing the introvert style of like having almost like a script and then like a skill, like if they say this, I say this. I say this, and that only really, it's not very practical. It only makes sense in the first couple of calls, but then what you realize, if you're in sales long enough, you just have the same conversation over 100 times a day. Like almost everybody has the same objections and the same questions. So you get good at it fast.
Yeah. And then moving on, like how long you continued there in that job?
Yeah, so I stayed there for 1 year. I felt like, I think even if you do just like 1 or 2 years of sales, you kind of get like 70%, 80% of the skill.
Yeah.
Unless you go into like management or something else, and that's totally different. But I felt like I was kind of maximizing my skill set at that. I was just getting diminishing returns after that. And sales is hard too. It's not easy, especially if you're calling like doing cold calls, which I was doing a lot of. So I did that for all of 2019, basically.
Okay.
And then
COVID came in.
Yeah, well, at this point, not yet. So I finished. I quit my job before COVID.
Okay.
And at this point, it was my first time leaving like the Toronto area. So I moved to Vancouver as soon as I graduated to do a sales job, and Canada's a big country. That's like a 5-hour flight.
Okay.
So I was getting a little bit more confident in my ability to navigate through the world and go and do things.
Yeah.
So then I came up with this idea with my friend of mine that we were going to move to Europe.
Okay.
And we landed on Berlin as the location. So got everything set up, got my visa, had a job lined up, got everything there, and then landed in Berlin in February 2020.
Yeah.
And then started that job 6 weeks in. The Prime Minister of Canada went on the TV and was like, all Canadians, you got to come home now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I got a bit scared.
End of February?
It was like, I got there on like February 3rd or something, 2020. And I left maybe midway through March or like late March.
Oh.
So it was like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I did like 2 weeks into the lockdown in Berlin, because at this point I was like 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and then then lockdowns are over. But then once it dawned on me that this is going to take probably a long time, I should probably go back home. So went back to Canada, kind of feeling a little bit dejected because I had set up this whole plan on how I'm going to move to Europe. And then this is where really my crypto arc starts. I went back home to Canada, dejected, living with my parents again in like serious lockdown, which was in Canada, and then just kind of like roaming around the town that I grew up in with all my other friends who were like 22, who were back in the same town as me because of this.
COVID.
Yeah. And I spent the like 6 months just meditating basically on what it is I wanted to do with my life. And arrived at crypto.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of 2020, 2021. It was when it was picking up as well because of all of those Elon Musk shilling it. And then, I remember January 2021 when it was like Dogecoin and then all of those things coming up. So, and then Bitcoin also had a good rally. People had nothing much to do. So they were like trading or like learning.
Yeah, I was like, I remember because I was having these thoughts in like March 2020. So it's still early. Like the prices the bull run hadn't really started yet. But I didn't have any money at the time either. So basically spent those 6 months just thinking, okay, what should I do? And I remember at the time, the Federal Reserve, I heard this story, like the Federal Reserve was printing like $1 trillion a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy that
they were giving all of that, I think, stipends or something, right? $2,000 of relief.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Canadians got $2,000 a month in, I forget what the name of them was, but in just relief money.
Yes. For how long, like?
For a long time, for a really long time.
Okay. I remember people like putting this relief money into crypto.
Yeah. I'm guilty as one of those people. But the other thing was that the Canadian dollar is like from like 2020 to 2025, the Canadian dollar is like the value of it has gone down so significantly. And I think people understood this, that all this relief money you're going to pay for late. And in the US, they got like $1,800 or $2,000 total over like 6 months. It's pretty crazy.
Okay.
But I remember thinking, okay, the Federal Reserve is printing like $1 trillion a day. Obviously, this is going to cause inflation.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that's pretty crazy. And then this brought me back to crypto and why crypto is important. And even on like the Genesis block of Bitcoin, the something about the 2008 financial crisis is described in the Genesis block. And it's like, you kind of have to go through these crises to remember why it's important.
Yeah.
So then I remember flying back to Berlin 6 months after COVID. The Canadian lockdowns.
So like November or October, November?
September 2020.
Okay.
I flew back to Berlin. And Canada just lifted the lockdown as soon as I left. And Germany just went into lockdown as soon as I arrived.
Oh.
So I just flew. I was just traveling.
Yeah, it was more tough in Europe, right? Like the whole Europe region.
Well, Europe had like a hard lockdown in the beginning, and then some countries opened back up. Canada took longer to close down, and then they went like pretty hardcore with lockdowns. But I timed it very poorly, where I was basically just flying from lockdown to lockdown. So then I flew to Berlin, and lockdown started like a month into me being there. But at that point, I reached out to a bunch of crypto founders that were in Berlin. I started cold emailing them, just saying like, hey, please let me work for you. And one of them replied. And then I kind of kicked off my journey, and I started working in crypto for about 5 years.
Got it. So what role did you apply for like all of these companies?
Yeah, the funny thing is like
because you had a sales experience and then your degree was in biology.
Yeah. I just remember wanting to get my foot in the door and not really thinking about the role at all.
Yeah.
And so I got hired at this layer 1 protocol called Arweave that does permanent decentralized data storage.
Yeah.
And I had been following this project a little bit, and I thought what they were doing was very, very cool. And at the time, I just wrote to the founder, like, here's a list of things that I'm good at. I'm like really young, so like willing to learn. This sort of message. And I was lucky that he kind of saw the value in that. And I learned later from him that actually most of the people that were hired there were just him responding to cold emails.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said most of the high signal people are going to be people that reach out to you, even if you don't have a job posting.
Yeah.
So they never had a lot of job postings actually, which I think is a reasonably good strategy to recruiting. Actually, is just who's messaging the founder and the CEO. Hire that guy.
Yeah, on Twitter, like now it's very common, right? Like people reaching out to go. Yeah.
Yeah. But there wasn't an open role. I just said, here's a list of stuff I can do.
Yep.
And the founder said, oh, we probably need some more people to help on the comms front with writing.
Oh.
So he's like, do you know how to do that? And me not knowing how to do that was like, yes.
Yeah. I also kind of followed the similar trajectory. Like the initial roles, it was like, yeah, I was saying yes to everything that I was getting. So that's actually a good strategy, right? To like learn new things.
Yes. I was listening to the podcast with Naval Ravikant the other day, and he's talking about like, when you're young, just say yes to everything, and when you're older, say no to everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's good advice. The advice that I would give to my future children. Yeah. But so I started doing like copywriting, writing blogs, writing tweets, this sort of thing. Did that for about 4 months, and then just like quickly pivoted into a different role within the company that I actually wanted to do, which was running one of their first startup incubators.
Okay.
So then
it was in 2021?
2021, yes. So this is when I then pivoted to doing more of an ops role, which is something that I feel a little bit more comfortable and competent in. I can still write, and I'm still learning more and more how to write.
Okay.
But general purpose problem solving and ops is like kind of the thing I feel good at. So running a startup incubator was like a really good opportunity for me, because learned a lot about just trying to land the plane on projects that have very high execution risk, and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, but I remember like Arweave is kind of a competition to Filecoin and IPFS, right?
Yeah, people claim that they're competitors, whereas I think that in some sense they're very different. So Filecoin, IPFS, they specialize in ephemeral storage. You still pay a fee every month. Arweave is pay once, stored permanently forever. And I think that the product market fit really happened with Arweave once people, their like NFT metadata and JPEGs were on Amazon or something, or AWS, someone stops paying the monthly fee, and then now they have like a $400,000 NFT that links to a broken JPEG image.
Yeah.
So for that kind of use case, Arweave makes a lot of sense.
Got it.
And just for preserving the web generally, Arweave I think makes a lot of sense. And in that way, I don't see them as competition to Filecoin, just because there's reason to have permanent storage, there's reason to have more short-term storage.
Yeah.
But now I think Filecoin has launched some permanent storage thing, which was bound to happen. And Arweave also launched like a decentralized not permanent storage thing. So, but they're really the two big players in the storage space, in my opinion. I think Sui is doing something with like Walrus.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them, but
No, but then I read about them. Yeah. Also, like, what was your strategy to like get good projects into the incubator? Because it's like so many hackathons, and then so many projects, like initial early stage projects which apply to incubators, and then most of them are kind of like people applying to incubators are not bounty hunters, of course, but then like yeah, most of the hackathons project are kind of very early stage. So how do you figure out?
Yeah, this is like a conversation we had internally constantly.
Yeah.
And I was lucky that I had the chance to work with like a really smart, motivated founder that was the founder of Arweave. I learned a lot from him. And they had a lot of experience running hackathons previous to wanting to do incubators. And the one thing they realized very early, in my opinion, I think a lot of these kind of crypto founding teams know this now, but back in like 2021, it wasn't as obvious that you run these hackathons and people are just showing up and it's like a business model for them. Yeah. And you can like, oftentimes you have some front end in place and you just swap out the smart contract from Arweave to Filecoin or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you can basically just you can go around the world entering your like dinky project that you never work on into all these different hackathons for these different ecosystems and chains, and you can just win $5,000 here, $10,000 here, and it becomes quite profitable very fast. But from the perspective of the core team of a blockchain protocol, that's not useful to them.
Absolutely.
They want people who are actually coming in because they are ideologically aligned. They like the protocol. They're gonna build their
long-term builders, and
they're gonna build their long-term. And it's just like you can't incentivize people to build on your protocol by paying them. That just is not a business model that works for very long. It's like paying people to come to your party.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what you have to do basically is you have to find the high signal long-term builders, and even this is really difficult to do.
Yeah.
But even one of the reasons we wanted to do an incubator instead of a hackathon was because incubators attract people who are trying to, raise money and build for the long term. It's not just like a side sweet project for them. So you asked, how do we find those people?
Yeah.
So one of the things I did is we had like a section on the website that for people to apply for grants or like free storage grants, cash grants, investment, this sort of thing. And a lot of the time I would have conversations with these people. So my calendar might be like 10, 15-minute calls, like kind of like each day, just like talking to people, trying to determine who's like at this time as well. You had what people called like grantpreneurs. Right, Fiba?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so there was people who would show up who didn't know what Arweave was. Like they forgot, like I was maybe their like fifth call of the day for them applying for grants, and they hadn't done any research. And these people were, you don't want to, it's not that interesting to have these people show up into your ecosystem because they're not interested. So I would have basically like 100 more of these calls with people applying for grants, for investment, and every now and then.
So then you know the trend, right? Like which particular founder knows about it, and then.
Yeah, and you just have some basic questions like, why do you want to build an Arweave? What's your project? Like, and if their project that they're building doesn't even make sense to be built on Arweave, then you know that maybe they're not a good fit. But basically, just the conversation would switch from them pitching me to give them a grant to me pitching them an incubator.
Yeah. No.
And then from there, so we would have this big funnel of projects that were applying for grants. And then some of them would come in and join the incubator. And the incubator was open to everybody. And then we would basically, at the 4 or 5 weeks in, we would say, okay, here's the 8 to 12 best projects. And then we're going to take them, help them build a pitch deck and get them to pitch to investors.
Got it. Yeah, I remember like Filecoin also had something. So Filecoin did a lot of hackathons, and then because they were all in the first category of the ETH Global Hackathon of $1,000 bounties.
Right.
So yeah, I remember that. And then also they had a lot of grants, and then yeah, because that's how I started as well. So, yeah, I started on that end. It was like applying to all of these different hackathons and then learning bit by bit about each and every ecosystem, and then like, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then so I know, so initially I was on the bounty hunter arc,
Right. Okay.
and then I shifted when I went to Polygon. It was like I did the operations. So we did all of these hackathons in 6 continents. Like yeah, it was that Polygon roadshow, not roadshow. I think dev tour, something like that.
I heard about this.
Yeah. So yeah, I think so. Then I came to know how to actually, but then actually it's tough, right? Even now, if you think, it's like ETH Global conducting all those hackathons. It's good for ETH Global, and then it's good for, like, so not naming any particular brand, but then it's good for the platform, and then it's good for the builders. But then the companies, they are kind of struggling to get good long-term projects. So
Really hard. And even like, I remember in like 21 or 22, Near had like $800 million in a grant funder. It was something insane. They had so much money.
yeah, many ecosystems, like it was something. It was like pouring money on all of these developers, and then it was something like, I remember Unstoppable Domains, they had something, you just have to integrate a button to your existing project. It can be an hackathon project, or it can be anything, and that they were just giving out $300, $500, $1,000 for that. So yeah, it was a time when then, I think currently as well, all the new L1s coming up, I think last year, Leo, and then all of these new L1s, I think, yeah, that's the path they are adopting, to like give money to the developers, and then they, yeah.
Yes, these crypto projects are like raising enough money to start a country. And it's like,
Absolutely, like 300 million, yeah, 600 million. It's like,
yeah. And, you know, I'm becoming more empathetic to like Bitcoin maxis.
yeah, eventually when you understand, yeah.
Yeah, not that, like, I do think that obviously Bitcoin was like came out first. It was it changed everything. It created the industry. And then you had Ethereum come afterwards that really had that first huge innovation in smart contracts.
Yes.
And it's strange to me that, like, I understand the argument against some Bitcoin maxis in some sense is like, obviously there's layer ones that have better tech than Bitcoin, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like it was like, it's good for your chain to be more programmable and to have this smart contract functionality and all of these sorts of things. And then that allows interesting things like DeFi, which is, Ethereum has a really vibrant DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah.
But the other way I see the Bitcoin maxis point of view is like, it's just really interesting to me that, well, for one, okay, the founder of Bitcoin was anonymous. I think that's important, actually.
Yes.
Because then you don't have this like cult of Vitalik or cult of Anatoly or whatever, and it's like just a kind of another centralization point in some ways.
Yeah.
Bitcoin was trading for $0 for like multiple months. I think that's pretty important too. It didn't raise a bunch of VC capital, and there's no core team that's making changes to the protocol.
Nah, then they didn't fund the devs to like build.
Yeah.
Don't fees it.
Yes, exactly. They're not throwing money at a bunch of people, and the Bitcoin meme is like the strongest one by far.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin protocol. It's important for a protocol to not really change much, because if you're someone who's building on top of the protocol, you need to make sure that, it's not sand underneath your feet, that you're actually, you can rely on the protocol being the same for what you build in the future. You'd be certain assumptions that need to be true in 100 years from now. And I mean, one of the examples in the Ethereum community is that they moved from proof of work to proof of stake, and that kind of like alienated all those people who like spent all this money on a very specialized hardware. And while I think the move to actually, I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know enough about the move from proof of stake to proof of work. Some Bitcoin maxis think proof of work needs to be there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to me that Bitcoin did all of these things right. They had the anonymous founder. It traded for $0. The protocol hasn't really changed much. And they don't have this like core team, venture-backed thing that's like leading the project. And if they leave, the protocol will just die. But you don't really have and then you have on the other side, the other layer ones that are basically, raising all this VC capital or have these core teams that if they leave, the project might not exist anymore. But there's no happy medium between. It's just interesting to me that there's not really a happy medium between Bitcoin and the rest of the L1s. Feels like there should be.
Yeah, I think so. And then, like a medium path between both of them, like an anonymous founder launching Ethereum, something like that.
Yeah, like a anonymous founder who launched something that's 10x better than Bitcoin, who didn't raise a bunch of capital, who just put the token out on the market and lets the market decide how much it's worth, basically.
Yeah.
I think with like Sui and Aptos, it started trading at a certain volume and then just immediately went down immediately because they had some crazy valuation in the beginning.
And
justified.
they raised well also, like it's a
Yeah.
So I think, and then it's also something like you can have a good architecture or a technical background, but then for the particular chain, but then whenever like you associate the project with their prices, it's always something like you can have a good tech, but then your price then determines your project, which is kind of not true in many sense. Like for example, Mantra, what happened with it recently? It's like it was doing everything around RWA, like the tech hasn't changed, right?
Right.
It's just the price and the manipulation that happened there. It like takes away all the...
Takes a lot of credibility away from the project.
Absolutely.
Well. Yeah. Where you have these like holders of the EMV, these private sales and these token holders that hold so much of the total supply. Yeah.
It's
not great.
Yeah, it's like it can be a different topic to discuss upon, and then
it's turning into a crypto podcast.
Yeah, but then so like it was kind of interesting, like the transition that you had, and then so how long did you stay in Berlin then?
I stayed in Berlin I lived there for 2.5 years. I really liked it.
You kind of worked with Arweave, and then
I worked with the core team, with the Arweave core team. Then was starting to get a little bit, the Berlin culture is very like, having ambition is not cool in Berlin. It's kind of almost looked down upon.
Okay.
Like people are very hedonistic and crazy and just like want to party all the time. It's not really a good city to get things done, in my opinion. And people are incredibly, one thing I noticed about just generally the sentiment of people of Berlin is they're not very optimistic about the future either. There's the world's on fire, like we need to protest something. There's no point in, being a capitalist or being a founder is like the worst thing you could ever be.
In Berlin?
Yeah, people have no respect for, they think it's just a money-making enterprise.
Okay.
So I kind of just wanted to get like a change of scenery. But with that being said, I love Berlin. I think Berlin is a wonderful city and people should go there.
Have you been to that club?
Yeah, I have.
I forgot the name, like one of them mentioned here.
Yeah, it's called Berghain.
Yeah, okay.
I've been there. And there's interesting things that happen in there.
So, like you learned German or something?
I tried really hard to learn German. But it's funny, like everybody in Germany speaks English. Everybody in Berlin, at least, speaks English much better than I can speak German. And
then the bouncers in the club?
They speak in... the one thing I learned about the bouncers is if you say as little words as possible, that's the best way to get in. So they'll ask you, the first question they ask you is like English or German. Kind of nice.
Okay.
And then they say, how many people or what is the group of your party?
Yeah.
And then I would just be like, put up 2 fingers or something.
You say as less as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I felt like, so in the 6 months that I was in Canada for lockdown, I probably learned more German in that 6 months because I was like really motivated. I was like, oh, I'm going to show up in Germany and I'm going to be able to be conversational.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got to Germany, I was like, nobody even wants to speak to me in German. Everybody speaks English. And I remember I lived in like a very like trendy version, very like gentrified area of Germany. It was in this area called Friedrichshain. It's one of the suburbs or not suburbs, but areas. And it's right on the other side of the Berlin Wall, on the east side. Okay. So basically it went from like being the eastern side of Berlin, like part of the Soviet Union, to just a bunch of like hipsters wearing circle glasses. Okay. And I would go to this cafe every day and I would order my order in German, and the person behind the counter would always respond to me in English. And I remember being like, man, is it so obvious that I don't speak German? And then I realized later that was like an Australian guy who doesn't even speak German himself. So that was why, that might have been some of the reasons why people would just respond to me in English, because
many of them
were just Australians or British or Americans or Canadians, and they didn't speak German either. So that's my roundabout way of why I didn't learn German. But many Germans speak really good English, so it's not that useful, actually.
Okay, that's good. Cool, yeah. I would like to explore that club one day.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's something to knock off your bucket list, I guess. Yeah. But then after Berlin, went to Asia for the first time. So I was there for like 6 months, just kind of nomading around.
Which countries?
A lot, like Australia, which isn't part of Asia, but like spent a lot of time in Vietnam, in Thailand, in the Philippines, in South Korea, in Japan.
Oh, okay.
And Taiwan. And that was super interesting. So I had never seen like all I knew was Canada and
like Germany, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Asia was kind of a culture shock. Especially Vietnam was a big culture shock because like I had never been to a place that the traffic laws were so crazy. Like crossing the street in Vietnam is not easy, especially if you're used to just like pressing a button and the red.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You just kind of have to walk in the middle of the street and the bikes, they drive around you. And it's a bit scary.
It's something similar in India as well. So
I can imagine.
So I was like kind of thinking what different you found in Vietnam, because like it was very much similar to India. That's kind of a thing. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You were like comparing it with Europe and Canada. That's why.
Yeah, I'm comparing it to Europe and Canada, and just like even just like in some sense the lack of safety in some ways is like kind of disarming. Like you see just like all of these electrical wires like bundled together in these like crazy ways, and like
but then it's a beautiful place, right? I've been to 3 parts of it, like Hanoi, Da Nang, and then Ho Chi Minh, and then it was kind of interesting, like a touristy place that you can say.
So yes, I would completely recommend Vietnam for anyone who hasn't been.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried like the coffee? They have so many variants of coffee, right?
It's so bad for you. The Vietnamese coffee is so good, but it's like they use like condensed milk or something, and it's so much sugar.
But yeah, they have.
It's really good.
I tried an egg coffee there. So
they also have that. That's like famous in Hanoi or something. It's very good. But yeah, Asia like kind of opened my eyes up to, there's more to the world than just like.
And then it's not that expensive as well. So yeah.
Vietnam especially was like really cheap. So that was part of the reason why I stayed there for so long is, so at this point I quit my job at Arweave. So then I was just like,
2022 approx? Or?
This was, like I left for Asia in October 2022 and I quit Arweave in like January 2023 or something along those lines. So then I spent the next the whole time in Asia I was basically learning how to code.
Okay.
It was my new
coding arc.
Yeah, this was my coding arc, and so I was learning. I was just discovered like Coursera.
So like full stack development or like?
So I started with Python. I started with Python. Then moved to like web development. So then learned like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these sorts of things. Was like really dedicated, really studious for 6 months. Then got another job in crypto for one of the Facebook chains, and didn't use any of the coding experience I had. So
what was your role there?
Like head of developer adoption. So very similar to what I did with Arweave.
Yeah.
But Arweave was a lot later stage. They were like 5 or 6 years past mainnet. And they were at the point where they were able to run startup incubators, and they had projects who it was kind of a brand name in some. It's still a niche community a little bit, but people knew what it was. Whereas this other chain was earlier stage, so I was helping more so like set up the Discord server, like get people in the Discord, run like a small hackathon just to get people familiar with the stuff, run like developer boot camp.
They had a different language, like Moob, or
it was Rust actually.
Rust, okay.
Yeah. So I know that Sui and Aptos use Move.
Move, yeah.
But even so, like I heard that Sui Move is more, or I might have it the other way around, but Sui Move is like more similar to Rust.
It's like a Rust-based language, yeah. Yeah.
But like Sui Move and Aptos Move are quite different from each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. I haven't tried, but then I've also heard. Yeah.
But yeah, I had a very good learning, which was that I think that like learning about things might be the most subtle form of procrastination. If you're just like you're learning about things that don't have context to a problem that you're trying to solve. So I was just like, I'm going to learn Python. But what I really should have been thinking is like, I have this project or I have this goal that I want to achieve, and I want to learn Python to solve this problem.
Yeah, then it's much more easier and faster that you can learn that. Yeah.
Yes, and I just decided I wanted to learn to code, and I didn't
applied any of those things.
Yeah, and a lot. Yes, exactly. Because when you just learn about something without the full context, it's not that useful. So I've now taken that loss. I mean, I don't think it's a loss, because now I can stare at a bunch of code and kind of know what's going on.
Yes.
Which is somewhat useful.
So, yeah.
And I mean, I talk to developers all day, so now I don't sound as bad as when I used to. So yeah, I think
yeah, that's actually a good advice. So I was also, initially when I randomly got into one of those ETH global hackathons, like online ones, when I got to know so the first year I was kind of losing money in trading, and the second year I kind of got to know about hackathons, so I got into it. And then so because I formed good teams, I was only helping them with the front end. Right. But then it was very easy for me because I had a deadline, right? Like a 1 week deadline. So I was very fast and efficient in learning everything. And then, so in a week I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript, but also React, Next, how you can basically use it in a particular project. That was the aim, to learn in a week. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then, but then of course you're not that efficient in that, in your skill, but at least you can pull things off. But then when I started learning Rust, I was thinking to learn from the basics and everything. And then it took 2 months, and then I didn't actually build anything. And then,
right.
Yeah, so I've kind of experienced that.
And how were you successful in learning Rust?
Not really. It was...
It's hard. From what I'm told, it's very difficult to pick up.
It's because the syntax is also very different from JavaScript. And yeah, so it's actually... And then, yeah, so that's... Yeah. And then the memory management and stuff like that, it was very low level in that sense. And then, but to me, it was something but then I kind of pivoted. I came to know that, I should make programs using it. But still, it was kind of tough to understand everything. It's a bit difficult, but that's why you get paid so much for being RS developers. Yeah.
But I also I often have these... where I get a little bit maybe discouraged from learning how to code, because I'm thinking, AI is just going to solve this. Basically, soon I'm just going to be able to speak in plain English to a computer.
Yeah.
It's going to build what I want it to build.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, I actually think this might be the wrong framing, and I'm just basking in AGI defeatism.
I think it would be much more easier to learn anything. If you, for example, if you want to code, right, you can get the basic stuff done with AI, and then even if you are learning a new language, you can like keep on iterating and then see what's good, what's wrong. So it can be good for learning. I don't know like the long term, but how would it look? But currently it's like helping us in all of the segments that we have. Like if you want to create a pitch deck, you can take a help of an AI,
Right.
code, marketing, content creation, in every space. It's till now it's kind of helping us about the future.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't know, I just thought everybody's thinking about AGI and what's going to happen and where are all the possible pathways. And I kept getting into these like many people, these like existential crises of like, what do I focus on? What do I work on? What is something that will actually be valuable and won't just be replaced in like a year?
Yeah.
And I remember I read like the Navalmanac, that the Naval Ravikant's book. And he talks about how like personal brand and reputation is
and distribution.
Yes, is very important, is leverage. And this is what kind of now is making me think, okay, maybe what I should actually be working on is, building an audience and brand for myself and becoming like a subject matter expert on things that I think are interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, social media has been around forever. And I think people kind of discount how important it is because it's been around for so long, and maybe don't accurately predict how much more important it's going to be.
Absolutely.
I think it's actually like X is already adding all these features. In my opinion, it's getting way better.
Yeah.
Community notes is amazing. The live stream stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
The Nets articles. Yeah. Broad. Yeah. Great example. And it's like, there's just going to be more people using this. So
absolutely. Instagram also has like, now they have all of those AI avatars. So earlier, like some people were doing it, but then it's like Meta also encouraging people to like create all of those things in that.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the best example would be Mr. Beast. Like the things he is doing, it's like, people are actually buying equities in his videos, do you know? It's
I think we talked about this before. So they buy the rights to his video.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're already bullish on crypto, like I think maybe both of us are, then the implications for token gated content and like, what Web3 and content is going to
I think finally
those things.
I think finally like crypto can solve that puzzle and
yes,
find a use case.
Yes, exactly. And now you don't just have this audience on this particular platform where you don't own any of the content. People talk about this all the time where you get deplatformed from YouTube or Twitter or whatever, and you're going to have solutions to that now, and crypto is really
Trailcasters and then things like that.
Yeah. So just trying to put some more stuff out into the world. I think a lot of people get really, maybe like, I don't know how you felt, but maybe you were a little bit nervous or like scared to put content out into the world in the beginning.
Yeah, it's like how people would think or react to it.
Okay, we're going to judge you. Are they going to think the content is dumb?
Yeah. But then I think it's always something that we know. Of course, like we won't be out of that quality, that the material that's already out there. It's like, of course, much better things to learn from. But still, like, I think everyone can be a micro influencer in some sense because they know something which can be beneficial for others. And so the way I started was I saw one of those random YouTube podcasts. It was around one of the ETH global developers who was in the podcast, and he shared his journey, how he did his BTech and then explored these Web3 hackathons and then got into it. And then currently he's doing so good. And then also like at that stage also like he was doing well. But then that gave me a path, right, of how I can explore. And then so like, it's something similar, like how I'm also like trying to connect with people, learn new things, and then you stick to a plan. And then people sometimes think that creating content is easy or like it's and then that's why so much hate.
Right.
because they don't know the journey behind how, like, it takes time to build up.
Right. Well, and a lot of people, they never get over the barrier of just like feeling like they don't want to put stuff out into the world because then people can judge them, and you know. But when you start actually doing it, you realize that the real fear is actually that nobody cares.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's way less you're gonna get judged. It's way more you're just screaming into the void.
Then when you start, like when you skip that phase, then you have something like how to grow. Then you think like, how you can achieve those numbers. Or
Anytime I like put out a tweet or you know, I put any piece of content out, I just think nobody's gonna read this, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's like for this podcast as well, like I'm not hoping to get like thousands of views or anything, but it's just like I'm improving myself, and also like I'm kind of talking with so many people with which like, because like I'm kind of an introvert, and then usually I won't talk this deep with anyone. So yeah, it's kind of interesting for me as well to explore this.
Yeah, this is why I want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm interested in your journey. And the way I see it with podcasting is like, again, even if nobody listens to it, nobody watches it, it's still, you're still cultivating skills and you're still learning something, and you know, you're getting better at conversation, which is, people do this every day. I'm sure there's other benefits and values to it that
absolutely. It's like the exponential returns these things can have in long term. And also, like I read a quote, it was like proof of experience by untraditional means. So it's something like you are trying out different things. Just as in your case, if you see you did a biology, like you did your majors in biology, and then then a sales job, and then so it kind of transitioned so much, but then you got so much experience in that way. And then when you kind of came out of that bubble of academics, and then you explored everything, so it was so different. And then any role that you got, you just got into it, said yes, and then got it right, and then kind of explored, and then gained an expertise in it. So it's like proof of experience by untraditional means, and it's actually so it applies so much in different variants of our life. So
do you have a plan, like with this podcast? Do you have a specific theme or like types of people that you want to talk to in the future?
Yeah, so it's something like, so currently it was like the place where I am. It's like kind of very good. Like all the people are kind of like-minded and everything. So I just wanted a kickstart. So as to like, and I can have a plan, and I can have some kind of a schedule in which I can talk to people. And then, so it's kind of very random as of now. But then eventually, like, of course, when I go back home, I would be targeting more folks who are like, and then, kind of self-growth, crypto. And then the main audience that I actually wanted to target, it was something around the college students in India or all around the world who are kind of following the traditional path. But then letting them know that it's so much out there that you can learn from and make so much more money, because to some extent you have to be financially free in order to have that freedom. So there's so much that you can learn from, and then don't be just stuck in that bubble.
It's really funny because the crypto as an industry like still needs a lot more talented people, and a lot of these companies are hiring all the time, and nobody wants these, like, no young people want to apply for these jobs.
They are kind of not ready to like deep dive into what it is actually, and thus just like read like it fell down 20-30% because of this news, and then so they just read the surface, have the surface level knowledge, and they are like, what if Bitcoin goes to zero and then we don't have any Web3 jobs or something like that. And then that's actually coming out from people who don't have any knowledge about this particular industry. It's like
I also think just a lot of people, especially when I was like 18, I just had a very like low resolution on what I should be doing with my life. And I just like, my parents just told me things and I listened to them. And
it was kind of same for me as well. It was like, so say in India, they have a they have IITs, like Indian Institute of Technology, like the best colleges in India, something like that, and then you have to prepare for an exam. So it's like, so I was also like, after my school, 3 years I was just preparing for that particular exam to get into these universities. So, so it not so my the last 3 years of my school, something like that, and then I realized that it wasn't. So I was kind of in a bubble, which was I wasn't exploring much, and then I was kind of just thinking that if I get into this university, then something I'll figure out in the future.
Right. Yes, and that's what I remember when I first moved from, like, I finished my degree and I first moved out of my bubble in Ontario, in Toronto, and moved to Vancouver, and everything worked and I was fine. And I had a job in a new exciting sector, and I was like making more money than a bunch of my friends who were still going back to school or like had better degrees than me and were doing other things. And I remember it's all over Twitter now, but they're like that you could just do things game. That like really clicked for me in like 2019. And then that frame has kept with me to the point where I was like, yeah, I could just move to Europe now. Now I could just go get a job in crypto. It doesn't matter. Like, if I have high integrity, I'll figure it out and I'll make it happen. And now I'm going to, I'm here with you. Obviously, most people at network school have like high agency in some sense. They're willing to, they're pro risk in some sense. They're willing to get up and go to, kind of like a very vacant city in Malaysia. Nobody lives here. It's 7,000 people. I think the city's designed for like 1 million people, and 7,000 people actually live here. So it's obviously very interesting, and it attracts very interesting people. And I think a lot of the people here have kind of unlocked that you can just do things mindset some ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so talking about your journey, so like you traveled for 6 months approx in all of these Asian countries. So did you also like travel to all of these crypto events, because there were so many crypto events?
Not really, no. I was just learning to code at this point. And just kind of traveling with my partner at the time and a friend of mine. And then was pretty sick and burnt out of traveling by the end of that. Like, especially like didn't have a ton of money at the time either. So it was just kind of like living off of,
savings in the...
Yeah, and also being in like Vietnam and these countries that weren't expensive. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to move to Australia for a year.
Okay.
And I remember deciding this because I was like, okay, I'm still pretty young. I want to live like everywhere. And this is like probably my only time where I can move to Australia, where I'm not going to be too old. I'm not going to have, I don't have kids. My parents like are still healthy, and I don't have to like worry about them. So I was like, okay, this is the year to do it if I'm ever going to do it.
So it was in 24?
This was in 23.
Okay,
It's halfway through 23.
Okay.
Moved to Australia. And yeah, that was quite interesting. Was there for about a year.
City, very
Melbourne.
Okay.
Was there for about a year. It was okay. Very similar to Canada in a lot of ways.
Okay.
And stayed there for a year, and then now have just been nomading to... I think a lot of people in the nomad community, they kind of realize that like it gets tiresome just like picking up and getting all your roots out of one place and popping down in another place. But at this point I had gotten pretty good at like figuring out a system of what to do for every city I moved to. So I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the crypto meetups. So that's how I would meet all these people there. I'd go to run clubs or something and go meet people there. I remember I got a room that was like with 7 other roommates in like a big warehouse. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be friends.
It was in Australia? Or?
Yes, in Australia.
Okay.
So from that, I was able to like get a friend group pretty fast. Even like there's someone here who I'm friends with because we share an office together in Australia.
Okay.
So was able to do that, but again, just got a bit tired of it, and then started going on the... I'd heard of it, read the Network State book in 2023, and then got kind of obsessed and was like,
Yeah.
this is definitely going to happen. That was my first reaction. I was like, I felt like it was like 2011 and I just read the Bitcoin white paper.
Like, okay.
Like, it was kind of a light bulb moment where I was like, oh, this biology guy, he's onto something. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of first heard about it. So in January 2023, I came to Singapore for one of the Polygon events that they did along with Jump Crypto. And it was kind of a 2-week hackathon kind of thing. And then there, like, Balaji came up and then he shared about this network state book. And then I remember I joined this particular Discord server back in January 23. Wow. So, and then I almost forgot it because I read the book. I was very much inspired. But then they had the conference and then they launched V1 and then now V2.
Right.
So, yeah. And then, like, yeah, in March when I was kind of applying for it, then they asked me to, like, get back to that Discord server and then talk. So then I realized, yeah, I was so back. I joined it early. Yeah, I was early, but then, yeah, I didn't contribute in any sense. But then, yeah, now I feel so it's good.
Yeah.
Also, you went to Prospera, right? So, yeah. And yeah, how did you come to know about that? And then,
yeah, so once I finished the network state book in like 2023, then was like in my office in Australia, just kind of like, this is so cool. I was just researching, like plotting out, who's actually doing stuff in this space. And then just had a spreadsheet kind of looking through, okay, who's building what. And I made like an ecosystem map a couple days ago and posted it. It was just like, here's all the projects that I know of. But the Prospera was the one that was kind of coming up the most. They're probably the most mature kind of, there's so many different words to describe it, like parallel society, startup society, intentional community.
Got it. So how long is it? Like, do you have to stay for a particular period of time or like it's more flexible?
No, you can go any time of year.
Okay. Do they have an application form or?
They have like an e-residency thing that you can fill out. But Prospera itself they call themselves like a layer 1. So basically they're the governance layer. They're in a special economic zone. They're semi-autonomous. They're under, it's called the ZA framework in Honduras. So it's zone for economic development and employment or something. So the Honduran government, like they worked with, I think they worked with like the same people who created the special economic zones in Hong Kong and Dubai, and they drafted this new legislation. And it was kind of like the perfect thing for people who were trying to do these charter cities.
Okay.
So the Prospera guys got on this really early. And so they created this zone where it's quite interesting because, are you familiar with Mini Circle?
No.
They're like a startup. So Brian Johnson had like a documentary that came out earlier this year where he goes to Prospera. And
I've heard a lot of stories.
Yeah, he goes to Prospera and he gets a gene therapy there.
Okay.
And there's this company called Mini Circle who administers the gene therapy.
Okay.
And basically the way that Prospera works is you can have your own like custom legal framework that you can abide by. So if you're trying to create a financial company in Prospera, you can be like, oh, I want the regulations of Singapore because they have good finance regulations. So you pick and choose your regulations for any OECD country. Or if you're doing like a biotech startup, you could be like, I want Swiss regulations. Or you can pick and choose your own custom framework that is subject to approval.
And who approves it? Like,
I don't know. It's a good question. There's some governing body there. They have like an arbitration center as well.
Okay.
But so basically they have this really interesting custom legal framework where if you are a biotech company or you're creating new drugs or new gene therapies, rather than spending like $1 billion and taking 10 years to go through all the clinical trials, you can just get it to market in 6 months for like $100,000. So the value proposition is huge to some of these companies. So there's still not a lot of people who know about it, but they should. It's happening now, and it's quite interesting.
So like, who are the founders of Prospera? It's like a bunch of people, or it's
there's two main guys. One of them names is Eric, and one of them is Gabe. I forget who the others are, but there's like a core team.
okay.
Yeah, they're super competent guys. They believe in the mission and the vision. I know they kind of go on podcasts and do the whole circuit as well. But I think that they're acting as governance as a service. And the idea is that other projects will come in and utilize that governance framework and build other interesting things and kind of build out the community and this sort of thing. So they're just kind of covering the governance side of things.
And how big is that area? It's like a special economic zone.
Yeah, I'm not really good at, I think it's like 5 square kilometers. I could be wrong. Like it's not huge. I don't think in acres, but it's not that big.
And then when you, like, for example, when you ship there, it's like, so for here in Network School, we have a hotel, right, in which people are staying, and then for now at least. And then, so what's the scene there? Like how?
Yeah, so they own like a resort. They bought a resort there. So you kind of have this like bougie area with like villas and pools, but it's like libertarian guys, libertarian tech guys living in them. And then there's also just like a tower that they constructed in the middle of the jungle. And that has a bunch of rooms as well. And it's interesting because...
So like you can choose.
Yeah, you can choose. So I decided to do the tower because I was just like, I just want to work. And the tower is the tallest building on the island in Roatan.
Okay.
And because they have, there's, the heights of buildings are capped based on Honduran law, but because Prospera is a semi-autonomous zone, they don't have to abide by that. So they are able to have taller buildings, which is already something interesting. So, and I went there there's this project called Infinita City, and they are operating within the Prospera legal framework, and they were having a pop-up city or like a big event that was like focusing on crypto, biotech, and longevity. They had like multiple weeks of conferences. So I was there for 3 months.
So this Infinita lasted for 3 months, or like it's also something which...
Yeah, so Infinita, they had this one event that lasted 3 months. And then after all the conferences, they also had like a startup accelerator, and like Meekly Drapers, like Tim Draper and his son came in, and they pitched, they came to the like Infinita Dome, and the startups within the Infinita umbrella were pitching to them. So it was super cool to see some of the people that I had like kind of lived with for a while pitch to the Drapers, and I don't think the episode has aired yet, so I don't want to say.
Oh, okay, they have recordings of all of those.
We were there for the live filming of the episode, but I don't think the episode has actually aired yet, so I can't say what happened.
Alright. Also, like, do you remember any of the best project or something new that you have heard of there?
Yeah, so Mini Circle is one example of one that they can just make gene therapies and new drugs for like pennies on the dollar.
Yes.
There was another one. There were people who were basically able to. They got like bank status, and they were able to provide financial vehicles for people that would be very difficult to do otherwise. Like basically, they're a bit, the whole debanking fiasco, where they could basically say, hey, are you a crypto founder who has like some entity in the British Virgin Islands and Cayman Islands who is from like the UK, Canada, or Australia, and is like very heavily scrutinized, and have you been debanked? We can give you a bank account, which some people is very useful.
Got it.
Trying to think of other projects that are building there that are really interesting. There's another like biotech company there called, I think they're called Unlimited Bio, and they're also developing new drugs and treatments, and they're doing it much cheaper.
Got it. So like, for example, like this place can be good for companies that are like trying to experiment things in which like, in like, for example, like so many crypto startups that are there, so they can't operate in their particular country because of the laws and regulations. So so Infinita is the layer 2, like I said. They're very focused on biotech and longevity, so a lot of the startups there were like biotech and longevity related. And
the main value proposition for them is that they basically don't have to, they can bypass the FDA. Which something really interesting that they talk about is that if you look at the like phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials to get a drug approved or therapy approved with the FDA, most of the safety stuff is actually done in phase 1. And then a lot of phase 2 and phase 3 is efficacy, so the effectiveness of the drug or treatment. So if you've already determined that a drug is reasonably safe in 6 months, and then the other 9.5 years is determining if it's effective, if somebody has a life-threatening disease or illness, they should probably be able to
experiment. Yeah.
They should be able to make the decision to whether or not they want to take that drug or treatment or not. So, and Balaji talks about this all the time. But I think he was going to be like the work for the FDA, basically as their like main guy. I forget what the position is called. But yeah, the main value proposition is for Infinita, at least with Prospera, there's a lot you can do, but it's that you can get drugs or treatments to market in 6 months, and you can do it a lot cheaper. It'll be interesting to see what happens as a result of that.
It can have some good outcomes, and then they have also. Do they have also like some kind of insurance if they go bad?
Yeah, I'm sure there's something there. They have their own arbitration center. People could still sue the company if they wanted to. I do know that they also have their own special economic zone. So if you are a tax resident or you're living in Prospera, it's like 5% personal income tax, 1% corporate tax, and like 2.5% or something VAT. So tax system is super simple. Regulations are quite simple. So if you're a company there's just a lot of benefit to being there. And you can also pay your taxes in crypto. I think it might be one of the only. I think it might be one of the only places where you can actually do that. And they have even just on site, like the cafe, they accept Bitcoin, and like Infinita, they launched their own token. So they have like a token on Solana, and I was paying for all my coffees and breakfast with it. And the restaurants, they also accept Bitcoin and other crypto.
Got it.
So they have this whole circular economy going on, which is pretty interesting.
Got it. So Prospera is like the layer 1 which stays there, and then there can be multiple layer 2s which can which can come out.
Multiple communities that can come and actually use the place.
Got it.
And yeah, I imagine there's another like so Prospera is under the ZA framework in Honduras, and there's another like charter city zone that is also doing this, but on the mainland Honduras.
Okay.
And it's like an Italian entrepreneur runs it, and he's like, I think he's like the founder of like a bunch of pharmaceutical companies in Latin America. So he's does very well for himself, and he has this special zone set up in the special economic zone. And instead of having like his value proposition is different. He's just letting in blue collar Hondurans who want to live there and want to, participate in this framework. Ability to like have a cheap place to live and eat and have their life.
Got it.
So he's kind of doing it in a different sense. But it's interesting to see how many of these experiments and charter cities and things are happening around the world. Like Zuzalu is another example of one.
Yeah, first, I think Zuzalu, that was the first one that I heard of. And then I went to one of their events, but then I haven't been to. Yeah, it was a one-day event in side event kind of thing.
And where?
It was in Istanbul.
Was that the one? Because they did the main one they did, I think, was in Montenegro, the first one.
No, yeah. So what I attended, it was kind of a side event in which they had some talks around Zuzalu, but then not an actual pop-up that I went to. So
okay,
yeah,
interesting.
But then I minted that pass that they have. I think
Zoo Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working really hard to have a tech stack for all this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so they had something like around DevConnect in Istanbul in 2023. Yeah, they had all of this Zoo Pass in which you can basically have all your tickets, and then
Yeah, I would love to go check out some of the events that they're doing. So far, I've just been to Prospera and Network School, and I feel like pretty vindicated in my, because I was so excited for these projects and the concepts. And that's why I decided to go to Prospera and to come here. And I feel like personally, it has everything I want. Like I just surrounded by people who are working hard on cool things. Especially in Network School, like all your life admin stuff is just taken care of for you, so you can just focus on doing whatever it is.
Yeah. And also like something that is good about here, it's like you can have some kind of a schedule if you want. Like you can go to gym regularly, you can attend events that you want, meet people like every month, new set of people are coming up, so as to like so a good place to be in for a content creator, I guess.
Yeah.
There's so much
Certainly
happening every day.
How did you get down like the content creator path? How long have you been doing something like this?
So I initially got into Twitter when I like started actively participating in hackathons. So what I used to do is that whichever event I went to, so I posted some pictures and then some selfies with the people I met.
Right.
And that actually helped me to get a good audience. Not a good, but then 3, 4, 5,000 people in Twitter. And then that was the first thing that I was actively doing. But then on Instagram, I had a public account. I was kind of posting stories. I liked clicking images and then all of these different countries that I went to. So that's how I kind of started. But then it was here when I came here to Network School, I had a target to like showcase my life here in the Network School. So the first 10 days or 15 days I made daily vlogs, not really vlogs, but then a day in my life in the Network School, something like that. Just like short videos, but then
I heard someone mention that the way that they convinced their wife to come here was from watching your vlogs.
So it was also so till that point, like I was in a stage like I got some injury or something, and then I wasn't actively making videos or doing anything. But then that story kind of motivated me to like
Keep going.
to do at least something.
Somebody's watching them.
So and then when I got his message, and then and it's also something, right? It's something like I'm an introvert. I don't like reaching out to people. Like I want to, and then I miss so many opportunities because of not reaching out to them. So but then in this case, it's like, so he came up to me. He told me that, do you remember I texted you on Twitter, like my wife isn't allowing me, and then now she's also here with me. So he came up to me to talk to me. So it was kind of very, it has happened.
Good healing.
It has happened to me in the past as well, because I actively posted on Twitter, and then I had a unique username. I had 10x in my username. So they were like, you are the 10x guy, right? Like, so.
Interesting.
It's like aVIRAL 10x. So aVIRAL is my name, and then it's also when you divide it, it's like aVIRAL. So it's actually a Hindi name, totally different from what I'm doing. But then it helped me name my podcast as well. So it's like aVIRAL podcast.
It's you were born to podcast.
So then this month then I focused on doing more of such podcasts, and then it's a hassle to like get them out, but then I eventually figure it out. And then like what's your goal here in the Network School? Like you read about it in 2023, and then
I read about it, was like very on board. I came here, met a lot of really interesting people, and I remember thinking like for the first like few days I was here, I was like, what can I do with my life generally? What can I do that would be a good productive use of my time that was also something I'm interested in? And I came to the conclusion that I'm already really interested in network states. I yap about them all the time. And I feel like I know a lot about, I feel like network states is such a new concept that I might be in like the top 5% of people in the world. I might know like this.
Not even 5%, it's like
could be higher. Well, there's not a lot of people who know about this stuff, or even the people who read the book, they might not care about it, or didn't land as it wasn't as impactful for them. And I thought like, okay, well, I mean, people make this point all the time that you look at places like Dubai, Shenzhen, Singapore, and the main differentiator was like governance. basically. You turn some barren plot of land into some crazy economic powerhouse just because of rules. And it got me thinking about how like governance might be the highest leverage way to scale human innovation.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, well, I already talk about network states all the time. I think like spreading the network state meme is like really productive thing that I could be doing.
Yes.
So I thought, okay, I'm just going to make content around network states and the ecosystem.
Yeah, the recent thread that you posted, it was actually very, and then that got viral as well in some sense.
In some sense, yeah. For me, it was viral. And I remember actually I wrote a thread about Prospera. Like I have like, so a couple weeks ago I had like 300 Twitter followers, like very few.
Okay.
And I wrote a thread about Prospera and Brian Armstrong retweeted it or reposted it.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, holy crap, Brian Armstrong saw this?
Armstrong, the coin?
CEO of Coinbase.
Okay.
He reposted it. He has 1.5 million followers.
Okay.
So he reposted it. Balaji liked it. And I was like, crazy. I have like no followers. I thought I've just been screaming into the void this whole time. But apparently if you press the right keys, you do actually get some attention. Yeah. So that was kind of like a big dopamine hit. And I was like, okay, something's here, like, I can do something. And then I was thinking, okay, if I already think that I'm early on network states, I think they're going to be important. I think that they're actually likely to happen. I think like the tech and the cultural momentum is kind of like pushing us in this direction. So then like, what am I going to do about it? How do I actually leverage this information? And my first thought was that once more attention and capital and, things start flowing into this,
yes,
they're going to be paying attention to the content that's already there. So I was thinking okay, why don't I just start writing about this stuff, start thinking about this stuff, making content about this stuff. So in my mind, when it inevitably does blow up, I'll be kind of positioned to be a subject matter expert in that, and it will help to kind of tell people the story.
Yeah, I think it's like similar to what Patrick Collins did. Have you seen all of his posts?
The Stripe founder?
No. Patrick Collins, he was in Chainlink back then. Now he has his own Cypherin Updraft, some kind of a security, Web3 security agency, something like that. But then so he also kind of created courses on Solidity and then full stack like Web3 development when not much people were paying attention to it.
Right.
And then now he has like millions of followers, and then so now it's like millions of views on YouTube on his particular courses.
When did he make the courses?
I think 5-6 years ago. 5.
Yeah. Even that is early. Like making like boot camps or developer education stuff in like 2019 on crypto is super early.
Yeah.
In
I remember so my local language Hindi, so there wasn't anyone who was creating content, and then there was this one guy. He's been doing it for 3 years now, and then now he has 150K approx subscribers or something. Like I also thought of doing something like that. So I've been thinking to do it for a long time now, but then it's like, what people would think about it, and then, so many things. And then that's why I kept on procrastinating and then didn't actually do much. But then now it was something like, it's something similar to what you have done about. So currently as well, if you write about crypto or if you share things about it, about this, it's like after 10 years or something, you would be one of the pioneers who
I still have the feeling like maybe my read is wrong, but I feel like I always think, I'm too late to get into this.
That's always it's kind of, especially in these fields, you might be late in coding, but not really. Like it's you're never late. I think once you start, it's you can. It's up only.
But even so, there's such an advantage. Like I'm thinking, what if I started a crypto podcast in 2013, 2014?
Yeah.
Like even if I'm not very good at podcasting, I probably become a resource for people
Now,
later on, and I would have all this information, and I would have talked to all these interesting people.
absolutely. Like what they thought about all of these things back then, and then now how they are thinking about it. So like,
Yeah, it's also, and I do think it's easy. Your chances of being a successful crypto podcast are higher if you started in 2014. Not that if you start one in 2025 that you're not going to be successful, but it's just like, so it's great to be first. Like there's a huge advantage to that.
yeah. But still, I think currently as well, you can't go back in time.
Yes, exactly.
It's like,
Can't go back in time. Yeah.
so I think if you are kind of loving doing something, so after 10 years, you would be happy that, yeah, at least I started 10 years ago. So
Yeah, it's also just like a good signal to the rest of the world that you're someone who has high agency and hunger and just wants to put yourself out there. And it's just even if I was just like, for instance, you used to work in crypto. So if you wanted to jump back in and get a job in crypto, if they see that you have like 5, 6, 7,000 followers, that's something that you can leverage for a higher, greater salary, a better position, or you can actually you have provable results in that you're
proof of work that you have done.
yeah. So yeah, it's like how much higher, what is that worth if I have 100,000 followers on crypto Twitter? Like, what is that worth to a company? Could be worth like a lot.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about having that much leverage and putting yourself out there and making contests.
Yeah. I think it's just similar to you doing courses on Coursera versus you building out a project and then teaching 10 people how to build it.
Yes. And the thing with doing courses on Coursera is I'm just going from course to course and like module to module, and I'm getting no external feedback.
Yeah.
Whereas in Twitter, I get immediate feedback. Or making content, you have these metrics that are like immediately come back to you.
Yeah,
Okay, nobody likes this, nobody watched it.
In the first 5 hours, you can get everything, or even like 2 hours or something. Like, yeah, you can get the trend and then figure out how. Yeah.
And like this is one of the things that gets people to start things, is that they have very quick dopamine hits. Like, I remember listening to something about people who were trying out stand-up comedy, and a lot of like the famous comedians, their very first set, they had people laugh. So they had that like immediate kind of
Dopamine hit.
they had that immediate dopamine hit, and that signal that like, oh, maybe I should be doing this. So me personally, I put out this like one of my first Twitter threads did really well, and I was like, okay,
I can do something.
Yeah, I can do something. So I feel like one of those people where I kind of need that validation that what I'm doing is working. Otherwise, I just get lost in my head, and I think what I'm doing isn't working, and I have to stop.
I think it's most of the time something similar. So the first hackathon that I participated in, it was something like it was a 5-member team, and then all of us were from different countries, and then one of them was from Vietnam, and then he had like a 3-4 year experience in building projects and something like that, and then we built a game in which I learned front-end development on that particular week. And then so it was something like we had a designer, we had a back-end developer, we had a front-end developer, and then I was assisting, like he was assisting me, something like that. So overall we kind of made so all of us kind of made $100 each, something like that. Like, so $500 as our first bounty, and then and it was just a week ago that I started learning it. So it was that $100 that made me keep on going. I meet people who are kind of very because it's the competition is up now, and then you have to kind of build something good, or you have to know the strategies. It was kind of good for me in the beginning that I kind of, so it's like you keep on doing something, and then when you don't get anything in return, then it's kind of demotivating, and then you feel like this is not a good field. But then it's that point when you hit the inflection point that you realize, and then
it's true. I think one of the Solana super team founders said like the best way to get into crypto is to earn money in crypto without getting a job first.
It was something like, don't buy your first crypto, it's
earn your first crypto.
That was their tagline. And then super team, like they did really well, and currently as well, it's like
Everybody's copying their model. They made it the best job. Yeah.
then what's your goal? Are you planning to actively create content, or like
Yeah.
have you figured out?
My goal is, so I've told now like 20 people that I'm going to start a podcast. And this is my strategy is to embarrass myself into starting a podcast, because now I have to do it because I've told so many people that I'm going to do it.
This was the case with me as well. So it was like last month, I was telling everyone that I'll do a podcast.
Yeah.
Because after those 10 days of what I'm doing in my life, it was kind of monotonous, because you go to the gym, you attend events, you work. And then like there were different events as well, but then it was kind of similar. So I wanted to try out something new. And I was like telling everyone that I'll create a podcast because they had this content studio set up and everything. Then it was all like, I didn't do anything last month in terms of podcast. And then one of the members, he's Amjad, he is the VR guy here. And
I said, where's your podcast?
he was like, let's do a improv. So we were sitting here and then we were just talking random shit. It was like, he made me Elon Musk's teacher, and then so we were just talking and then kind of figuring out how, if I would be hosting and then if I would be a guest, how would I react, and then all of these hand gestures, like how important these are, while because I was just sitting like this and I was sitting here like so it's kind of something you have to. These are like communication skills which I don't know, because I was just like, yeah. So that kind of helped me.
Right.
And then, so we did that comedy improv around 20th March or 22nd of March. And then it was 5th, 6th of April or something. And I wasn't doing anything. We just did that improv and then no podcast. Then I posted on the Discord server, like the discussion channel, that finally I'm going to launch a podcast. And then these are the set of folks, like all of you are invited, of course. And then, I just posted it. And then, but then again, like it was that weekend and Amjad, he was like, have you recorded your first one or not? So I was like, no, I'm still figuring out the structure. And then, so he was like, the next day I talk to you, and if you are still talking about it that I'm figuring out, then I don't want to like talk to you.
This is the motivation that I need, because I'm still like in the phase of, I'm still figuring out the start. Yeah.
So I think it's and then at that moment only I texted one of my friend, and I told her that like, I want to start this. Let's do a improv kind of thing. Like we'll not actually do it, but then, and then she took one of his friend as well, and then we actually shot the first podcast.
Okay.
Then when we did the first one, then I kind of created a list of folks, read their bio, and then kind of started all of this. And then it's going pretty well. I was of course stammering a lot in the beginning, and then English not being my first language, and then
right.
So
I already feel like you already feel like you got something out of it.
Yeah. So these things that we are doing right now, so I've kind of got a momentum. I'm kind of trying to improve in each and every next podcast that I'm doing. So
right. Yeah. You feel that improvement. Do you feel getting better at it?
Yeah. And then the next step is to kind of edit them and get them out.
Right.
So that's also something which I'll figure out when I'll do it.
Right.
So yeah. And I think for you as well, if for example you want to start anything, it's just go there and do something, because that won't be the best one. But then if you keep on procrastinating to create a best movie, that won't be.
Yeah. That is a form of procrastination, is like perfectionism is based.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm definitely in that phase now. So I put out like one piece of content, and now I'm already mad at myself that it's been like 6 days and I haven't had a second one. But I'm still just kind of trying to articulate everything that I want to say about network states, and why I think it's important, why I think it's, high leverage to be here early.
It's actually tough to create quality content.
Yeah.
Because
there's a lot of it. You're competing with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I also feel like, for example, for the particular topic, if no one has talked about it, then you are the only one.
Yes.
How shitty videos you make, but you are
it won't matter, yeah.
But you are the only one who is proving that something is happening.
So you might have been the only person with a day in the life at Network School.
Yeah.
I've been the only one.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, even hearing like Mr. Beast stories, he wanted it bad. He was like, I was in a room trying to figure this out all the time.
He was just in one of them he like counted till 1,000 or something. So he just started his camera and then he started counting 1, 2, 3, 4 till 1,000 or something, and then 1,000 or 10,000, and then he had like the way he started, it was so unconventional, and then the things that he did. But then now if you see, so it's like totally different. So he also kind of figured everything out with time, and then
he had the constant feedback loop of just putting stuff. It's like a startup. You just throw stuff up against the wall, and then you get feedback. So
the thumbnails that he's making these days are like
yes. And this is just it's Mr. Beast's content is just a reflection of us more than it is of him. It's like this is what
absolutely. So in one of the recent Instagram reel that I saw, it was the most viral Instagram reel that Mr. Beast got the most number of views in a Instagram reel in which he didn't talk at all.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was something. So for example, that was a podcast with Mark Zuckerberg and 2 or 3 more people were there, I guess. And then he told something like, whenever you start speaking in a particular language, you are automatically getting 50% of the word out of it.
Right.
Because, for example, you started speaking in English, then 50% don't know it. So, that's why. So, in one of the videos, he was just like carrying $10, then $100, then $1,000, like physically carrying that cash and running. And that video has the most number of views on Instagram.
Oh my God.
In which he's not speaking anything.
Right. He talks about how he has these other Mr. Beast channels that are just like dubbed in other languages, and that immediately just increases
on YouTube. Yeah, on YouTube now there is an option like apart from caption, you can also select different audios. So English, then you can select Hindi, Russian, Arabic, anything that you want, and then
he's like the master. He figured it all out.
Yeah, and then he tried out everything, and then currently is
I don't know if I want to make Mr. Beast style videos, but I definitely want to put something out there, make my mark on the internet. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it was a fun talk, and then you are also like kind of very fluent in answering everything. So like I don't think so. So for me it was very difficult to answer. So the improv that I had, he was.
So were you the guest in the improv?
Yeah.
He was the host?
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
No, so we tried both of it. Once I was the host, and then another time he was the host, and it was so difficult for me to answer something because also we was kind of talking about something that we didn't do.
Right.
So that's why I was.
I feel more comfortable. Well, I haven't tried being the host yet, but I feel quite comfortable being a guest because it's like people just ask you questions and then you just talk about it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you would have some opinion about anything. So
yeah.
So that's why.
And people love to talk about themselves as well.
Yeah,
good way to get people talking.
That's why I have the topics which are very easy,
very personal to the PH people. I noticed that.
Yeah. Because otherwise, if you like, because then, for example, if I start talking about AI, there would be a filter, right?
Yeah.
And then, I can't, of course, talk about the expertise that the guest is having, but then I can throw in questions and then kind of learn a bit about it. So
right, and I guess like when people with like really big podcasts, they have guests that are famous and their information about them is public, and they already know like, oh, this is like Vitalit. I'm going to talk about him with crypto.
Yeah.
Talk about crypto with him. Whereas you're just meeting people kind of throughout network school, and you might not know anything about these people. So
kind of interesting. To hear their stories.
Yeah.
And also, so there was this one of the podcasts in which I forgot the name. He's kind of a bit famous now, but then so he did one of the podcasts with Mark Zuckerberg. That particular video got 500,000 views. But then he did a podcast with a school teacher or a university teacher, professor kind of thing. And that set of videos and short form videos got like millions of views.
Crazy.
Yeah. So it was some.
Einstein was just better, but the guy wasn't famous.
Yeah. Because it was something like the content was something which people haven't heard of, and then it was kind of something new. So, yeah, because Mark Zuckerberg, he will like keep on talking about something which he is talking in. He's on other body.
He's on a great podcast. I haven't listened to a lot of Mark Zuckerberg podcasts, but
then in any case, like for example, any of these famous people like talking about something, it can be very monotonous in some sense.
Right.
But then, yeah. So Ben, if you have met Ben,
Yeah.
so he is also an interesting story how he kind of tweaked these threads and
Yes. His story like inspired me. Yeah. He went from like 0 to 40,000 followers.
within a month or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Just one or two Elon Musk reposts, but it will give you crazy virality. So.
But then also like you figure out with time that how you need to improve the things that you are doing, because you can get lucky sometimes, but then if you want to be consistent, you'll have to keep on
Yeah, it's also like
anticipating in that.
there's something to be said for creating the most viral piece of content possible, and then also like straddling the line of doing something that you're also interested in personally.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to just be creating like Twitter slop for the world today. So I'm trying to tie it into something that I'm interested in. Right now, like crypto, network states, tech, digital nomad life.
And currently, like I think you don't have to be like that famous. Like if you see the numbers, you don't require the Mr. Beast numbers to be famous in crypto, I guess.
No.
Yeah. Because it's such a niche market still.
I forget how niche it is. It's easy to, when you're inside of it, it's easy to forget. But I think the last like Electric Capital had like a developer report, and it was like
Electric Capital, yeah.
21,000 crypto developers.
Yeah.
It's so small. It's just a small amount of developers. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like, what will crypto look like when that number is like 1 million? Maybe it will have useful apps.
Finally.
Yeah.
But I think with AI coming up, it's like crypto is kind of riding on the AI wave, and then
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. Crypto and AI seem to complement each other very well. So yeah, people talk about this, the idea that like AI is very easy to fake things and crypto makes it really hard to fake things. So having those two technologies together can be interesting when you have all this like AI generated content. You need to determine, okay, what's
actually
content.
Yeah.